Hey everyone, Beto Paredes here again in our media center for Marketplace Masters. I have some exciting news for you today. I have been speaking with a gentleman that a lot of you are going to know, and for those of you that don't know him, you're definitely going to want to come to our show and you're going to want to engage the services that they even have now, because this gentleman is doing some amazing things for dealerships, really helping their sales staff increase their sales in ways that I think you're going to find very unique. And I am very glad to at least have a chance to interview him here. We've got Fran Taylor here with us today. He's going to be doing a keynote. He's also going to be giving a workshop on our first day. He's the only workshop at our show that is a full 3 hours. So for those dealers listening, you want to get to our show on the first day, which of course is the 6th. So Fran, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for spending some time with me here today. One of the things that I think is incredible is that you've been in this business working with dealerships since '86. Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you start in the automotive business?
Well, I got in the car business by luck. I was on my own in 10th grade, and I was complaining about the whole world, and I was telling my friend and this guy we were at a restaurant, and he leaned over and said, "Hey, kid, I'll show you how to make a lot of money." I said, "Okay." So I was listening to him, and I didn't have a car, I didn't have clothes or nothing. He bought me clothes, and I said, "Hey, if you trust me, I'll be one of your better salespeople." And what a great guy. I owe him so much. But anyway, I went from walking to driving a new Supra, put 12 grand in my pocket, got an apartment all in 1 month, and I told him, "You're never getting this car back." So it was like a little bit of a fluke, accident, whatever you want to say. But I was ready. I was looking for an opportunity, and man, I never looked back. I was salesman of the month my first month, and every month after that in the #1 volume Toyota store in all of Mid-Atlantic Toyota. And I was just fortunate enough to have a real good manager to keep me focused. I realized real quick that all the money's in repeats and referrals instead of taking fresh ups. I couldn't live on that. When you have 20, 25 guys, it's hard to grab an up. So he said to me one day, "There's more customers outside ready to buy than will ever be here in your biggest sale." So I just went looking for them. I did all kind of crazy things that everybody laughed at, especially the older guys. They say, "Why would you spend money?" I mean, I had matches made with my pictures on. It said, when he opened it, said, "Strike a good deal buying a car from Fran Taylor." I mean, I just had a ball with it. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you open up the fortune cookie, it would say, "Hey, save a fortune buying a car from Fran Taylor." I just made it fun. And I learned a lot by accident. Like I used to have a goal with, if somebody said they were going to do 26 cards, I'd say 28. If they say 24, I'd say 26. And after about a year, I was my worst enemy because I always did a little more to stay #1. And 1 month I said, I'm going to shoot for 35. And everybody looked at me. Well, I got to 35, then 40, 45, then 50. So I was my worst enemy in the beginning, but I was my best friend at the end because I said, look, they're holding me back. And what I had to learn is I kept adjusting in those first 2 years. I had more phone calls to make, more mailers to make. And I realized one day, when you're spending money on prospecting tools, one prospecting tool won't make you rich, but a bunch of them will make you wealthy. See, I had about 15 of them going for me. So if I'd spend $150, $250 on a prospecting tool, I'd make 3, 4, 5,000 back. And one day I said, gee, if I have 10 or 15 of them, I'm just going to keep making tons of money. And that's what happened. The other thing I teach in our class right off the bat is personal goals. And it's not just money. I mean, I wanted to travel the world fishing and hunting and stuff like that. I wanted my own game reserve. I wanted to buy my grandmother's house. I wanted to own race horses. People are going to laugh at you when you start to do this stuff because they laughed at me. I started a racehorse account with $25, and everybody laughed at me. But at the end, I had 7 of them racing at one time that cost $3,000 a month each. You have to have the discipline other people don't, to do the mailers, to do the phone calls, to save your money in those 11 goals, to buy prospecting tools, not shortcut the steps in sales. So I really push that a lot in my training, and sometimes these young guys, they just need a bear hug and say, you're on the right track, just do this, do this. That's all they need. So, anyway, and then 1986, Joe Girard called me, and I didn't know who he was. And he said, what are you doing to sell 50 cars a month? It took me years to get to 50. So I told him how I have a name on pizza boxes. I was selling 6 to 10 a month from that. And I had little mirrors for the women that say, you look beautiful today. And they'd come in when they were in service and want more mirrors. And when we hung up, he told me, hey, you ought to get into sales training. Nobody's teaching that stuff. I love it. So about 3 months later, I quit and I got into sales training, and I owe a lot of that to Joe Girard, and I never met the guy. So I start my training off. I show him a picture about how the guy from the Guinness Book of World Records called me. I mean, talk about luck. And he was right. I got to travel all across the United States, Canada, been to Virgin Islands, the GM down there. So one thing led to another, but I worked for it. And the other thing is, when I'm in a dealership, if I find somebody that's good, I don't act like I know it all. Sometimes you just ask them, what are you doing? And you'd be surprised what some of the older guys tell you. And so I didn't come up with everything, and a lot of things I added that I personally saw people that were successful. I don't have to have all the answers, but I got a lot of good ones, and when you're telling people the truth, they want to hear it. Believe me.
Wow, I absolutely love that. And I know a little bit about the format that you have. We've been speaking with you a little bit. And obviously, one of the things that you're emphasizing now in the history of getting into the business and leading up to Taylor Techniques, Inc., which is your company now that's going around and giving a lot of these workshops, very, very valuable to dealers, is that you really emphasize that idea of prospecting and getting out there and really managing to get customers to come into the dealership, not only for the dealership, but for you personally as a salesperson to start building those relationships. And you were telling me about a 20-month program that you guys have once you actually get started. You talked about a 20-month program that you have that really kind of keeps everyone that comes to your workshops intact. Tell me about that.
Well, when I work with dealers, like I said before, dealers don't mind spending money, but their biggest fear is have it going away in 60, 90 days. It's just like the prospecting tools. Even if everybody bought in the idea of prospecting works, sometimes it takes a month or 6 weeks just to get the prospecting tools. If you don't go back, what you told them 3 months ago, a lot of them forget it, or they don't understand it, or they're having trouble doing it. That's the key. So each time you go back, you get them to add something more. There's two things go together with that. The personal goal setting. Guys, why are you coming to work? If you don't know your mission of coming to work, it sure is not to make money and pay bills. You're always going to have bills, but you don't have to own a house. You don't have to own a car. So when you see yourself coming more financially successful, you automatically have a better attitude. With the prospecting, it's like me one day. I went on a Saturday. I didn't have one appointment. I sold 7 cars. I spotted 6 out of 7, and I was going by 2 o'clock. So you go back and you keep building the picture bigger. Okay, you're on the right track. And a lot of guys and gals were the same way I was. We always wanted quicker, and I was no different. But the more I did it, the more I made. So it's a lot of times you have to tell them, look, you're doing the right stuff. It just takes a little bit of time. Just like 99% of the people in auto sales, if they do birthday cards, they only put the buyer in. Where me, I put the whole family in. When I'm delivering a car, I'd say, hey, Mr. Smith, little Barry's going to buy a car someday, right? Yeah, you're probably going to be the guidance counselor, right? Yeah. Well, good. Can I send him a birthday card? And I'll stay in touch with him. When he's old enough, hopefully you come in to see me. Is that okay? And they say, sure. So you send little Billy a birthday card. Now you're talking to a husband and wife and 3 kids 5 times a year instead of once. I mean, some of this stuff is so simple. The difference is it wasn't work for me. Now, how do you build that real quick? Well, I didn't have anybody. So I started writing down 250. My friends were all acquaintances. I called all them. I put the whole family in a birthday system. So I started off with close to 1,000 names in my first month. And then I mailed everybody a magnet with my picture on, the $100 referral I was paying. To me, that wasn't hard work at all, because I used to do roofing and concrete. That's hard work. Every time I pick up the phone and make a phone call, I got a chance to make $1,000. You didn't have to tell me twice. I was into it. And if you just show the salespeople, hey, look, it's going to take time. You're not going to have 5,000 followers right off the bat, but here's the system. I think that's real crucial when you show them the system or the how-to part. And it's sure a lot different. And the big advantage I have is I did it. I mean, right away, salespeople, managers alike, or owners, they want to know, who are you? Why should we listen to you? And what's in it for me? So you tell them, and that's all you got to do. And then now you got their attention.
I love that. And you have workshops that you do, obviously, all over the country. The 30 Sales a Month workshop, and you were talking about how these guys get to 30 sales and even get beyond that using a lot of the things that you're talking about now. So what I want to know for our dealers that are going to come see us here at the Hyatt Regency September 6th, 7th, and 8th for our Marketplace Masters Dealership Series, you're the only speaker we have that's going to be giving a full 3-hour workshop, and it's on our first day. Tell me a little bit about what the dealers are going to be able to learn from those 3 hours.
Number one, everybody knows prospecting works. The biggest mistake I've made, and I've made them, is I convinced a dealer to buy the prospecting tools for the salespeople. Well, it was wrong because it was set because salespeople don't have skin in the game. So I'm going to show them a little bonus system like I did when I was a GM in Texas. Is if you have a bonus up for $3,000 total for the whole dealership, the dealership will make 90 grand back, and that's guaranteed. That people don't hit the bonus, you don't have to pay it. But that's a $90,000 swing. I'll show them something they can do on Sundays that's probably $200,000 a year, and it takes 15 minutes a year. Cost is about 10 bucks. I mean, so there's a lot of things like that. If they want to, I'll show them different things I've learned over my years is about morning meetings. A lot of people don't want to go to the morning meetings. They're too long. Some people call it a bitch session. But I showed how to have a short, sweet, have a lot of fun, and have people looking to go to the morning meeting. Now, we didn't have a conference room. We had a fun room. So I'll show them a little bit different things like that. See, because I used to send the salespeople away once a month. I'd send the top, most improved salesperson, and I'd send the managers away. And the only requirement was they had to bring a big full-size picture, 8x11 picture. So underneath that picture, I wrote, "Who's next?" So to me, it's cheaper to pay a couple $1,000s a month to keep the sales force happy for the ones that are doing it than it is to go spend money on advertising that might work. You see, we did that. Within 3 months, I had the best salespeople of all Wichita Falls coming to our dealership just because we did a little bit of things different. The other things, as far as the workshop, what we can show dealers is, hey, here's some of the prospecting tools that work. I'll give you an example. It might seem crazy, but I did it, and I know a lot of people that are doing it. You spend 30 bucks on a polo shirt or sweatshirt that says, "Need a new used car, see Fran Taylor, ABC Motors," and the phone number. So I sold I probably made $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 just from wearing a sweatshirt. So you show dealers a whole bunch of different ways, because dealers are always looking to improve. You know, and the stuff that I teach, I would bet a quarter that there's nobody in the town doing it. Not all of it anyway. And that's all they're looking for. They're looking for different ways like that. I'm a real big fan of bonuses, but you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars. I'll give you an example. Like I know a lot of dealers that were paying $300, $400, $500 for a hat trick on a Saturday. Well, I met a dealer one time. He said, "That's crazy." I said, "Well, why not? Why shouldn't you get bonus?" He goes, "Well, here's the proper way." So I listened to him. He said, "Okay, if a salesman has been selling, say, 15 years and he always sells 3 on a Saturday, you're giving a guy, what, $300-500 every Saturday? You know, that's 25,000 a year." He said, so I said, "How do you do it?" And he said, "It's all about growth. So if you sold 3 cars and was averaging, say, 2,500 front and back, okay, so next Saturday, instead of $7,500, it's 8,000, and then 85. He said, always pay on the increase. So I'll show the dealers a whole lot of things that absolutely make sense, so how they can increase sales. And that's the fun part, because it's all facts, too.
Great. So a lot of very good information packed into those 3 hours, everyone. Fran, I'm super excited for you to come. Not only is he going to be giving our workshop on our first day, but he's also going to be a keynote, which is going to be highly valuable. You're not going to want to miss him on stage. And Fran, I am highly interested in giving an introduction to how people can engage you now. I know you're going to be in Tampa coming up here, and you travel all over the country doing your workshops. Tell the dealers now, how can they engage in some of your regular workshops? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, I have frantaylor.net is my website, but I have a group called 30 Sales a Month Workshop. Now, that's pretty much just to tell the people where the next workshop is. But I have a group on there, and I started that by luck, because I had like 6 guys that were making $250,000 a year or more that I worked with. And I said, "Guys, I really don't have time to talk all the time to you guys, so I'll just start my own little secret private group." There's 6,000 members in there now, and you got to be invited to get in. You know, so the problem I have now, I'm only allowed 5,000 friends on Facebook, which I'm maxed out all the time. So when somebody wants to get engaged with me, they become my friend, and I automatically add them to my 30 Sales a Month group. I mean, we've got people there selling 40 cars a month. Dave Kelly sold 46 cars in a town of 4,500 people. I mean, a lot of those guys jump in, and that's free advice. They can reach me at frantaylor.net, or they can become my friend on Facebook, Fran Taylor. I'm the guy with the glasses. And then I'll switch you over to my 30 Sales a Month group.
Okay, awesome. Very easy to get a hold of him, everyone. Jump on Facebook, go to his website, and connect with Frain. And come down to Marketplace Masters at the Hyatt Regency, Dallas, Texas, September 6th, 7th, and 8th. Frain is going to be our only workshop, our first day, our only workshop that's also 3 hours. You're not going to want to miss that, and you're going to have to stick around because he is also on the keynote stage on our third day. Fran, thank you so much for spending some time with me here today.
Okay, I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to seeing all you guys.
All right, awesome. Everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in Dallas.